Namaste to our Indian fighters and caregivers.
नमस्ते आप सब पीएच से लड़ने वाले वीर योद्धाओं को, परिवारजन, दोस्तों और सहयोगी जो भी आपके साथ आए, उन सबका स्वागत है इस अनोखे सभा में. वेलकम.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to fighters and the caregivers joining us from other parts of the world, including India. Special mentions to those joining from Nigeria, Iran, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and Indonesia. We are live today, not just here on Zoom, but also on a Facebook page called Pulmonary Hypertension India. Please note that this session is being recorded. We request everyone to kindly keep themselves on mute throughout the event. For technical difficulties, please leave us a message on chat. We will open for questions from the audience in about 1 hour. I am Shalaka Parab from Mumbai. Most of you all know me, your moderator for this event. I live with pulmonary hypertension secondary to an atrial septal defect, also called an ASD. I'm also joined by my fellow PHO, Dr. Patil, who lives with idiopathic PH. We are both from Pulmonary Hypertension India. We are a patient support and educational platform created exclusively for pulmonary hypertension patients and run exclusively by the same patients. A warm welcome to all the attendees to Mind Over Lungs, a session that I believe is vastly important and of immediate value to many of us. In healthy people, breathing is the most natural thing in the world. They aren't concerned about it. It is not even the object of conscious perception for them. But when breathing becomes difficult, when it produces suffering, nothing else matters. Pulmonary hypertension, or PH or PAH, is a bane to healthy breathing. It is essentially a radical in the modern world of diseases. It is rare and it is moody. It steals in slowly, engulfs you completely, and plays with your heart. The extensive damage it brings to the body is nothing compared to the devastating effect it has on our minds. When we are diagnosed, we go through the stages of 1, denial. No, I don't have this. I cannot have this. I'm too young. Or anger. Why me? What did I do? Or 3, depression. I'm just tired of it all. 4, bargaining. I'll do anything, God, to get rid of this. Just make me well. And 5, finally, acceptance. It is what it is. And sometimes, to be honest, most of the times, no one understands what we are going through because we look the same. This is why it's called an invisible illness. Maybe we are just a little bit tired and frankly also frustrated with unsolicited advice. Staying sane and balanced requires a lot of effort, and sometimes we just can't do it on our own. How do I trick my body? How do I fool my brain? How do I stop obsessing over my fatigue and breathlessness? How do I make peace with the worries that plague my brain? We must acknowledge that sometimes we need an expert to sort out the tangles inside our mind to help us cope with ourselves. We can't do it all alone. So therefore, with gratitude, I today welcome my esteemed experts, both psychiatrists from Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital in Mumbai, Dr. Shaunak Ajinkya and Dr. Aparna Ramakrishnan. Let me introduce them both. Dr. Shaunak Ajinkya has postgraduate training in psychiatry from the prestigious Seth GS Medical College and KM Hospital in Mumbai. He's a recognized teacher of psychiatry and psychological medicine by the Medical Council of India and is an ex-professor who has taught psychiatry to students of MBBS, MD, nursing, and physiotherapy courses. He has authored more than 30 publications in national and international journals. He conducts seminars and workshops to spread awareness about psychiatry, psychotherapy, and hypnotherapy, and has been honored by many prestigious associations for his work. Dr. Ajinkya will speak today about different coping strategies, some mental exercises, and tips for caregivers. Dr. Aparna Ramakrishnan has been involved in research activities and has been the recipient of Young Psychiatrist Fellowship, WPA 2017. In her opinion, there are few things more complex or intriguing than the human mind, and that is what led her to become a psychiatrist. Her areas of interest are child and adolescent psychiatry, psychotherapy, de-addiction, women's mental health, neuropsychiatry, relationship issues, and couples counseling. Dr. Ramakrishna will start today first, and she'll be talking about stress, the various manifestations of it, physical, emotional, and mental, psychological issues in pulmonary hypertension, especially those in women, and caregiver stress. I welcome you, doctors. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Alaka. Am I audible?
Yes.
And I hope the slides are also visible.
Yes, they are.
Hi, a very good afternoon to one and all, and we thank you, both my colleague Dr. Shaunak sir, and I would like to thank you for this opportunity that we have of maybe helping you a little bit in our own way about dealing with the immense complexity of the symptoms, both in the body and the mind, that all of you are dealing with. Now, when we talk about stress, I'm sure that all of us at one time or the other have told or at least felt, oh God, I'm so stressed out. Now, they say that one thing that is really inevitable, or one thing which is always a permanent in life, is change. But on most days, so is stress. Stress is something which we undergo right from the beginning, right from the time we are born, as bawling babies, crying for food, crying for our parents' attention. Then as school children, burdened with our homeworks, with our peer pressures, with our classmates. And then, of course, as we grow older, the stress or the pressures of first love, the pressures of bullying, the pressures of fitting in or trying to even stand out. And then, of course, we have the rite of passage, falling in love, getting married, having a child, all of them immensely joyful events, but coming with their own stressors or pressures. And then we come to middle age, midlife crisis, emptiness syndrome, and old age, the stress of loss of physical health, loss of loved ones, the overwhelming sense of one's own mortality. Stress is as inevitable as life itself. But what do we do about stress? In fact, half the time, and it's not just you, even us who know what stress is all about, we tend to ignore it, we tend to dismiss it, or we even tend to minimize it. And that can have significant consequences in the future. When we talk about stress, let's just discuss what stress is exactly. Stress is actually a state when the demands of the situation are much more than the personal and social resources that the individual is able to mobilize. That means the perceived pressure is much more than the perceived capability. That does not actually have to be a threat. However, if I think it's a threat, it is a threat. As an example, something as simple as, say, going for a horror movie. Now, for most people, it will be exciting, it will be thrilling. But for somebody like me, it's sweat, tears, fear. So I perceive it as a stress. It is a stress. But is all stress bad? Not really. Now we know that if the stress is too little, it can lead to boredom. It can lead to lack of motivation, inspiration. There are no goals to overcome, no challenges. And sometimes stress can also help us react to potentially dangerous situations. It can tap into our resilience. It can tap into our innate capabilities, innate sense of survival, which we are also not aware of. But stress is something that brings it to the fore. That is where we come to the concept of eustress. Eustress is positive stress, or rather what I would say, a positive reaction to stress. As an example, say you get a new promotion, or you are setting out to do a certain kind of exercise, training, weight training, or dietary management. Essentially, what eustress is that it helps us face what we have to face and fix what we have to fix. So it improves our performance, our efficiency, our focus. And when we do achieve that, the sense of satisfaction, well-being is like no other. However, what happens when there are unproductive levels of stress? When the stress is unproductive, it's called a distress. It's a very aversive.
Dr. Aparna, just one moment. I think your slides are not rolling. You need to play the slides. We can only see your first slide.
Okay. Just 1 second. So only first slide is being seen apparently.
You need to play it.
Yeah, I have played it. Just 1 second.
Yeah, now we can see your slide on distress.
Okay, you can see the slide on distress?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do it like this.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but one more request. Ma'am, could you please also mix up a little bit of Hindi in between, because we also have some Hindi listeners.
Okay, sure, not a problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
When the stress, जब stress बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है, तो हमारा mindset जो है, सब कुछ mindset ही नहीं, सब कुछ negative हो जाता है. हम जो cope करते हैं या जिस तरह से हम adapt करते हैं, वो सब negative में चला जाता है, और हमारा body और mind दोनों ही adapt नहीं कर पाते, जिसकी वजह से टेंशन हो जाती है, जिसकी वजह से हम जो भी आज डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, लाइक एंजाइटी, डिप्रेशन, वो सब चीजें बढ़ जाती हैं. इनफैक्ट जब स्टडीज की गई, when studies were done about performance and stress, जब स्ट्रेस बिल्कुल नहीं होता है तो परफॉर्मेंस भी नहीं हो पाती. जैसे जैसे स्ट्रेस ऑप्टिमम लेवल पे पहुंच जाता है, किक-एस परफॉर्मेंस होती है. बट जैसे जैसे स्ट्रेस और बढ़ता जाता है, यू गेट टायर्ड, फटीग्ड, एग्जॉस्टेड. उसके बाद हम जाते हैं एंजाइटी की ओर, पैनिक, एंगर, total system breakdown. So this is how we reach from a positive stress to negative stress or distress. Now what happens to the body? Body में काफी सारे changes हो जाते हैं when we are stressed out. मैं आपको एक simple example देती हूँ. For example, जैसे आप कोई exam देने वाले हो या तो कोई interview देने वाले हो, क्या होता है? हाथ पैर कांपने लग जाते हैं, कभी कभी ऐसे पेट में बटरफ्लाइज जैसा सेंसेशन होता है, धड़कन तेज हो जाती है, घबराहट होती है. This is the body's acute response to stress. Obviously, हमारे जो सेंस ऑर्गन्स हैं, they tell us that okay, something is wrong, कुछ तो गड़बड़ होने वाला है, या तो डर लगता है. That sends a message to our brain, our nervous system, and so stress hormones are released. Cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and our body reacts. Flight response. बाबा ये हमसे ना हो पाई, भागो. Fight response. ठीक है, हम मैनेज कर लेंगे, चलो आगे बढ़ो, कर लेंगे, सामना कर लेंगे. और फ्रीज रेस्पॉन्स, दोनों ही नहीं हो पा रहे तो कुछ कर ही नहीं पा रहे. These are the 3 most common responses to stress. As I said, body के responses, all of us have had some form of this at some time or the other. गला सूख जाता है, there's a choking sensation in the throat as if something is stuck over here. धड़कन तेज हो जाती है, palpitations. We start breathing very heavily. या तो sometimes we feel that we are not able to breathe at all. पेट में butterflies जैसा sensation. Muscles become tense. We become tremulous. Goose flesh आने लगता है. Blood pressure increases. तो ये सब चीजें जो है, this is body's acute response to stress. However, a lot of things that you are undergoing is also, the stress can add on to all the things, all the symptoms that you are undergoing, which is why I want to enter into the topic proper, that is pulmonary hypertension and the psychological aspects of pulmonary hypertension. Now, I'm sure that I don't have to tell this to you, but still as an introduction, it is of course a group of disorders जहाँ पे common feature जो है is the pulmonary artery pressure of 25 millimeters or higher. और बहुत सारे disorders हैं जैसे left heart failure, valvular disease, lung disease, pulmonary arterial hypertension. And unfortunately क्या होता है कि in the beginning some of the symptoms are vague, some of the symptoms are non-specific जो किसी चीज में हो सकते हैं, in fact simple exhaustion में भी हो सकते हैं, जैसे fatigue, tiredness, shortness of breath, again धड़कन तेज हो जाना, palpitations, swelling of lower limbs and fainting episodes. इसकी वजह से क्या होता है, most of the time we don't pay that much attention to it, क्योंकि ये सब चीजें ठीक है, थकावट में हो गई, ऐसा थक गए थे, आज बहुत काम कर लिया था, सोए नहीं थे इसलिए ऐसा हो गया, आज हमने ट्रैवल कर लिया बहुत सारा इसलिए पैर थोड़ा सा सुजन हो गया है. इसकी वजह से क्या होता है कि diagnosis takes a lot of time and that itself leads to anxiety and stress कि हो क्या रहा है, कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा. And after once the diagnosis happens, of course there are a whole lot of new stresses. Progression of the disease, क्या होने वाला है, मेरी quality of life कैसे affect होने वाला, and of course the hereditary aspect. In fact, when I was reading up more about pulmonary hypertension and the psychological impact of pulmonary hypertension, psychological impact of having this diagnosis, I was surprised to see that there are not so many studies, which is very odd. So that is the whole point कि mental issues जो होते हैं pulmonary hypertension में, उस पे इतना ध्यान in general नहीं दिया जा रहा है, and that actually adds on to the disease itself. It adds on to the stress related to the disease itself. In fact, what I found was that in fact 25 to 50% patients में किसी ना किसी तरह का psychological impact होता है because of the chronic pulmonary hypertension. अब वो impact can be stress or it can actually be a disorder like anxiety disorder, depression disorder, post traumatic stress disorder. ये सब चीजें काफी commonly दिखती हैं यहाँ पे. And of course adjustment disorder, getting adjusted to the disease itself. In fact, what we found was depression. Almost 10 to 55% of patients में depression होता है, anxiety होता है. Stress के ऊपर again not too many studies are there, लेकिन of course the patients हमें पता चला है कि they have difficulty relaxing, always on the edge. ऐसा लगता है कुछ हो जाएगा, not relax, not calm, arousal, being easily upset, छोटी छोटी बातों पे गुस्सा आ जाता है, छोटी छोटी बातों पे रोना आ जाता है, over reactive हो जाता है, impatience आती है. ये सब चीजें काफी commonly दिखती हैं in pulmonary hypertension. Of course adjustment disorder means stress है और उस stress में हमारा body और mind adjust नहीं हो पा रहा है. That is also extremely common in pulmonary hypertension. In fact, ऐसा पता चला कि जो depression दिख रहा है, 70% of the depression was triggered by the diagnosis itself. कि ऐसा diagnosis है, उसके बारे में पढ़ाई करते हैं, depressive symptoms आने लगते हैं. And some of them already depression था क्योंकि इतने टाइम से diagnosis ही नहीं हुआ था, इतने टाइम से suffering चल रहा था, लेकिन पता नहीं चला था कि ये हो क्यों रहा है. And then finally when that was diagnosed, तो depression और थोड़ा worse हो गया. Any which way, the psychological impact of pulmonary hypertension is quite high. One more thing that we found was that cognitive sequelae. Cognitive sequelae मतलब जो सोचने की हमारी क्षमता है, memory, attention, concentration, orientation, उन सब पे pulmonary hypertension का impact होता है. जैसे हमारे जो काम करने की क्षमता है, मेमोरी, सिंपल मेमोरी, चीजें याद नहीं रहती, छोटी छोटी बातें भूल जाते हैं, एंड हमारा जो मेंटल प्रोसेसिंग का स्पीड है वो स्लो हो जाता है. एग्जीक्यूटिव फंक्शंस जो हम बोलते हैं, जैसे कि प्लान करना, कुछ डिसीजन लेना, इंपल्स कंट्रोल करना, अटेंशन, ये सब चीजों को इंपैक्ट करता है पल्मोनरी हाइपरटेंशन. नाउ व्हेन वी स्टडीड अदर क्रोनिक डिजीजेस, जैसे अभी हार्ट फेलियर है या तो सीओपीडी है, इमोशनल सिम्टम्स आर मच मोर इन pulmonary hypertension as compared to the other serious illnesses, क्योंकि जो quality of life है वो poor हो जाती है, irrespective of even the physical function. Sorry, because of the physical functioning, irrespective of whatever is happening emotionally. This is where the importance of emotional aspects comes into play, because these stress, adjustment, anxiety, depression इतना common है pulmonary hypertension में, और काफी हद तक ignored भी है. इसके लिए स्क्रीन करना बहुत जरूरी है हर पेशेंट को हर बार. Now, as far as women go, in fact, pulmonary hypertension is about 3 times more common in women as compared to men. It's a chronic disease and it's a long-term, a disease which affects over a long period of time. Waxing, waning course होता है. And in women, unfortunately, because of the way we are, कभी-कभी क्या होता है कि डायग्नोसिस में ही वक्त लग जाता है. जैसे मैंने आपको पहले भी बोला था, कोई ये हो जाता है, हम बोलते हैं ठीक है भाई, टायर्ड हो गए, ठीक है भाई, आज बहुत ज्यादा काम कर लिया, आज सोए नहीं, थोड़ा सा घर में टेंशन चल रहा है, हो जाएगा. बट एक्चुअली द सिम्टम्स मे बी ऑफ पल्मोनरी हाइपरटेंशन, और वो सिम्टम्स को हम लोग अनदेखा कर देते हैं, और हम डायग्नोसिस के लिए भी कभी-कभी नहीं जाते हैं, ट्रीटमेंट नहीं लेते हैं एज कंपेयर्ड टू द मेल काउंटरपार्ट्स. एंड इट्स लाइक Nashalaka said, initially, of course, there is those entire stages of grief. There is denial, there is anger, there is bargaining. Of course, there is profound fear, a sense of frustration, grief, helplessness, hopelessness, sadness. Because as women, women are involved in a lot of roles. There are different roles. Of course, women are in the workforce, but at the same time, they are also the primary caregivers at home. इतनी सारी जिम्मेदारियां, पेरेंट्स की जिम्मेदारी, इन-लॉज की जिम्मेदारी, बच्चों की जिम्मेदारी, and of course, to maintain a balance between family and work life. And what happens in pulmonary hypertension is that this role is impaired. And so it definitely starts affecting the self-worth, self-respect, self-esteem of the women who are suffering from this. It leads to limitation in all activities, not just activities of work and household, but even activities of pleasure. All of us have this stress busters. जैसे किसी को ठीक है, फ्रेंड से जाके मिल ली, एक वॉक ले लिया, डांस कर लिया, जुम्बा कर लिया. When all these activities are limited. And so, again, this starts impacting the person mentally also, not just the physical aspect, but also the limitation, the role limitation, functional limitation starts affecting the emotional side of the person. And of course, there is stigma, the stigma of having a chronic disease. कि ऐसे कैसे हो गया, मेरे को कैसे हो गया? And people react to this in very different ways, whether it's your loved one or even somebody who's your relative or friend. Sometimes they are supportive, but they don't quite know how to show their support. That itself can make you feel stigmatized as an object of pity, which is a very bad feeling to them. And then, of course, there is feelings of guilt. कि मैं ये भी नहीं कर पा रही, मैं वो भी नहीं कर पा रही, इतना सा नहीं हो पा रहा, weak हूँ. So that feelings of guilt, all of this, as I said, starts affecting the self-image, self-esteem. उससे coping और भी नीचे चला जाता है. उससे again it becomes very difficult to lead a life, because पुराना लाइफ अभी नहीं है, अभी आगे वाले लाइफ की ओर जाने में भी तकलीफ हो जाए. And of course, unfortunately, sometimes there is no adequate social support that they get. In fact, there is breakdown of marital relationships, there is breakdown of family structure, breakdown of support at a time when you need support the most, because you yourself are suffering, you need that help. But जब वो भी नहीं मिल पाता है, तो this again adds on to the psychological impact of pulmonary hypertension, because it's not just a physical issue, there is an emotional issue involved, and there is a social issue involved. All of them coming together can break down the coping mechanisms of anybody. And of course, at the same time, a lot of us, we go through, ये सब चल रहा है दिमाग में, ये सब चल रहा है बॉडी में, लेकिन हंसते हंसते नहीं, कुछ नहीं होगा, कर लेंगे. And yes, काफी हद तक कर भी लेते. That is what is called dysthymia, in which everything is seeming like a chore to you, but you are carrying on. You're carrying on. Nobody knows what is happening inside your head. Nobody knows what is happening inside your body, but you are doing your level best. Even you are summoning reserves that you didn't even have, just to make sure that everything appears normal for everybody. But you yourself are not doing well. And that is what eventually can lead to bigger issues like depression and anxiety. And of course, the caregivers. There are those caregivers who, who not just have to undergo a lot of changes in their lives, but they are watching their loved ones suffer. And there is nothing worse than watching somebody that you care about go through so much of physical pain, go through so much of emotional pain. It's a very bad feeling to do that, because you are helpless. There are some things that you cannot undergo. That person has to undergo, and you are just standing there on the side trying to be as supportive as you can. That again can lead to a lot of stress for the caregivers. Of course, there are extra demands on their time and energy. Now, एक patient का, person का role impairment थोड़ा हो जाता है, तो somebody else has to take up that role. And it is a whole life overhaul for them. Caregiving करना है, work time देखना है, professional responsibilities देखने हैं. And this change, adjustment to this change can be a difficult process. And at the same time, they have to have a life outside of work and home also. That can also suffer. All of this can result in a plethora of feelings that a caregiver undergoes right in the beginning, from in fact, from denial to anger to anxiety to depression, dissatisfaction with life, feeling irritable, lashing out, and feeling guilty because of that. Feeling that sense of helplessness when you're standing there and watching your loved one suffer, trying your level best to help. That feeling. And sometimes it can even show up in the form of physical symptoms, जिसको हम लोग psychosomatic बोलते हैं. नींद नहीं आना, पेट खराब होते रहना, भूख नहीं लगना. All those things are manifestations of stress in caregivers. Now, we've already spoken about the emotional effects. Now, the reason why I'm saying this again is because a lot of the times we ignore it. Please don't. Please remember that if you're going through all of these symptoms consistently over a period of time, you are stressed. And this is not something to be ignored. This is something that needs to be addressed as soon as possible so that it does not become anything bigger. And of course, help is available. Support is available. As I've already mentioned, memory problems. ध्यान नहीं रहता, चीजें भूल जाती. फोकस हमेशा नेगेटिव पे ही रहता है. कुछ अच्छी बात भी हो जाए तो वो नहीं चिपकती है दिमाग में. जो नेगेटिव है वही चिपकता है. बहुत मूडी हो जाते हैं हम लोग. मूड स्विंग्स होते रहते हैं. छोटी छोटी बातों पे गुस्सा आ जाना, छोटी छोटी बातों पे रोना आ जाना, एजिटेटेड रहना, बिल्कुल कामनेस नहीं आना, अनहैप्पी, फीलिंग लोनली, आइसोलेटेड. And of course, all of this shows up in the form of disturbed sleep. कभी-कभी बहुत ज्यादा नींद आती है, कभी-कभी नींद ही नहीं आती है, टेंशन के मारे. कभी कुछ भी मतलब बिंज ईटिंग करते हैं हम लोग, या तो कभी-कभी भूख ही उठ जाती है. एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज जो हम कर भी पाते हैं वो भी नहीं हो पाएगा. मेरे से नहीं, मुझे करना ही नहीं, मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा, वो आ जाता है. एंड मेनी पीपल स्टार्ट एंडिंग अप यूजिंग सब्सटेंसेस लाइक स्मोकिंग, ड्रिंकिंग, जस्ट ताकि थोड़ी देर के लिए तो दिमाग को शांति मिले, मन को शांति, which can lead to another set of problems altogether. And of course, some of the factors which are contributing to all of this is, जैसे हम ये करते थे लाइफ में, हमारा ये रोल था, हम ये काम करते थे, ये होता था, अब नहीं हो पा रहा है, तो फिर we take it as a personal failure. बोलते हैं ये क्या है, इतना सा भी नहीं हो पाता, वीक हूं मैं, मतलब फेलियर हूं, ऐसे फीलिंग्स आने लगते. We become extremely self-critical, and then हम instead of taking help, we are like नहीं, मैं वीक नहीं रहूं, मैं ये करूं, मैं वो करूं. उसकी वजह से और ज्यादा परेशानी हो जाती है. Of course, टेंशन की, स्ट्रेस की वजह से नींद नहीं आ रही. When you don't sleep, obviously it starts affecting your mental and physical. We overcome it. ठीक है, ये मैं पहले करती थी, अब नहीं हो पा रहा है, फिर भी मैं ये करूँ, सब कुछ करूँ. Yes, आप कर सकते हैं, लेकिन थोड़ा अपने आप को पेस करके करना है, बट वो हम नहीं सोचते. So overcommitment, उसकी वजह से भी चीजें प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है. Work-life imbalance, and of course, support system. Again, I would like to mention about females over here, because यहाँ पे in general, women have higher rates of depression and anxiety because of, because of internalizing a lot of things, because of difficulty in balancing the work life and family responsibility, and again, help seeking behavior भी कम ही रहता है. All these factors make the psychological impact of disorders like pulmonary hypertension much higher in women. As I said, stress एक तरफ है, but if the stress becomes too much, it can lead to so many disorders. Anxiety, depression are the tip of the iceberg. Of course, there's eating disorders, sleep disorders, sexual dysfunctions, and substance use disorders. Here, I would again like to highlight two main disorders over here, which are very, very common, which I've already discussed, but I want to just highlight the symptoms of these. Depression as well as anxiety. Depression सिर्फ sadness नहीं होता, ठीक है, आज मुझे sad feel हो रहा है, कल मैं better feel कर रही हूँ, वो depression नहीं होता. But if you are constantly feeling sad throughout the day, most of the days, किसी चीज में कोई दिलचस्पी नहीं लगती, बेड से उठने का तक मन नहीं करता, किसी से बात करने का मन नहीं करता, अपनी जो एंजॉय करते थे जो चीजें जैसे पेंटिंग हो या वॉकिंग हो या तो लिसनिंग टू म्यूजिक हो, कोई भी अपनी हॉबीज, किसी चीज में मजा नहीं आता, या तो भूख लगती ही नहीं है तो बहुत भूख लगती है, नींद आती ही नहीं है तो बहुत ज्यादा नींद आती है, कॉन्स्टेंटली लो हैं हम, कॉन्स्टेंट फीलिंग्स ऑफ हेल्पलेसनेस, होपलेसनेस, वर्थलेसनेस एंड कभी कभी इवन डेथ विशेस, सुसाइडल आइडिएशंस. इससे तो अच्छा मैं रहती नहीं, इससे तो अच्छा कुछ हो ही जाए. When these feelings start coming in and when these feelings are consistently there, it is not just stress, it is depression. And professional help needs to be taken at that point of time. Do not ignore these symptoms, they are significantly serious symptoms. And then of course, the anxiety disorders. Now, anxiety is something जो बहुत common है, सबको होता है. However, अगर constantly आप tension में, constantly आप anxious, हमेशा on the edge हो, इनफैक्ट बाहर ट्रैवल करने में भी डर लगता, छोटी सी बातों में भी एकदम यू आर हाइपर विजिलेंट, ऑलवेज, हमेशा लो लेवल, इनडिसिसिव, किसी चीज का डिसीजन नहीं ले पाते, हर चीज को नहीं, मैं नहीं कर सकती, नहीं हो पाएगा. एंड ऑफ कोर्स द फिजिकल सिम्टम्स, जैसे बार बार चक्कर आते रहना, स्वेटिंग होते रहना, पैल्पिटेशंस, पेट में अजीब सा लगना, पैनिक अटैक्स, ऑल दीज थिंग्स, टेंशन हेडेक्स, all these things are indicators of not just anxiety, it's an anxiety disorder. Again, professional help needs to be taken at this point of time, and professional help is available for all these things. I just enumerated these factors so that you are aware when you see all these things in you or your loved ones, it is always beneficial to take support before things become a little more complicated. And of course, social effects of stress. Now, the reason why I'm saying is that stress can appear as a lot of other things. It can be disguised as a lot of other things. Stress कभी-कभी anger के रूप में दिखता है, aggression के रूप में दिखता है, कभी-कभी performance dip के रूप में दिखता है, हम relationship maintain नहीं कर पाते. All of this is not because the person is weak or there is something wrong with the person. It is because of stress. So stress can manifest even in these different hidden forms, which we have to be aware of. But one thing, now we've spoken about stress, depression, anxiety, and stress, as we discussed, is something which is there right from childhood. But all of us are here at this point of time, and all of you, brave people who have faced a lot of things, you are sitting here in front of me. So you have found some way to cope with it. You have found that resilience in yourself. And all of us use methods to cope with stress, which is why we have survived till this long. But we just want to make sure that these methods are healthy. Because of course, there are a lot of methods to cope with stress. Some of them are not that healthy and may harm us in the long run. I'll give you an example. One thing is when we are like, okay, I have to power through this. Even when I'm not feeling well, even when I'm feeling very, very, I can't do it, but still I'm powering through it without seeking support because of the stigma. That is not a very healthy way of coping with stress. Other things that we do, all of us have done that at some time or the other. We try to, smoke away the problem. We sometimes try to drink away the problem. We binge on junk foods, comfort foods, or we zone out in front of Netflix, Hotstar. Itni sari cheezein hain, distraction. But instead of facing the actual problem, we are zoning out doing this. We withdraw from our friends. We withdraw from our family because I don't want to deal with all of this. All of them in the long run, they may not be very useful ways of coping with stress. And of course, the one thing that most of us do is displacement. Essentially, kahin ka gussa, kahin pe nikal. And that we are not doing because we are angry or we are bad people. We are doing that because we are so stressed out. जहाँ पे जो issue है वो हम नहीं resolve कर पा रहे, तो कहीं ना कहीं तो frustration निकालना पड़ेगा. Otherwise, how do we survive this? So that is what we do, and that is what ends up in the form of behavior issues. और उससे relationships और भी गड़बड़ हो जाते हैं. और stress के साथ साथ हमको भी added guilt हो जाता है, यार मैंने क्यों बोल दिया, मैंने क्यों गुस्सा निकाल दिया, क्यों कर दिया. So that is another unhealthy way of coping with stress. However, the good news is that there are a lot of healthy ways. There are a lot of good, consistently healthy ways of coping with stress, which not only will help us handle the stress, but it will not take a toll on us. It will not take too much of our resources. But first things first, when we talk about stress management, what I want to say that stress management does not mean absence of stress. It does not mean that, चीजें एकदम से बदल गई हैं, situation पूरी तरह से change हो गई. It just means that we are taking charge. We are taking charge of the situation. We are taking charge of the things that we can control, like our lifestyle, our thoughts, our emotions, our responses. That is what we are taking charge of. Now, like I discussed, all of us have different stressors or different triggers. So just like that, stress responses are also different. One size fits all wala solution sabke liye nahi hai. Different things work for different people, but there are a lot of things that can be used to manage stress. Stress management essentially क्या है? Coping skills. जिससे अब मैंने आपको बताया बहुत सारे जो unhealthy coping skills हम करते हैं. In the end, एक they are transient और दूसरा they can end up causing more harm. So उसकी जगह पे ऐसे coping skills जो consistent हैं और healthy हैं हमारे. स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट करेंगे तो द हार्मफुल इफेक्ट ऑफ स्ट्रेस, दैट मींस कॉम्प्लिकेशन जो हो जाता है स्ट्रेस की वजह से, चाहे वो डिप्रेशन हो, एंजाइटी हो, चाहे स्लीप डिसऑर्डर्स हो, सब्सटेंस हो, वो सब नहीं होगा, वहां तक बात नहीं पहुंचे. एंड ऑफ कोर्स प्रिवेंशन, प्रिवेंटिंग स्ट्रेस फ्रॉम स्पाइरलिंग आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल इन द फ्यूचर ऑल्सो, दैट इज द होल आइडिया ऑफ स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट. सम बेसिक मैकेनिज्म्स, लाइफस्टाइल चेंजेस, सपोर्ट सिस्टम्स, टाइम मैनेजमेंट, attitudinal management, and of course observing yourself. I'll be speaking about some of them. Lifestyle changes, see, I don't think this is something that I really need to tell you guys. You guys would obviously be doing all of this. Again, eating right, taking care of our body, not using substances like smoking or not taking substances, any drugs, any this as a coping strategy. Taking care of our body, which is a very, very significant part of even emotional or mental health, because a sound mind resides in a sound body. And then now we talk about, as I said, the mind. Now sometimes we are stressed because of course there is a trigger, there is something which causes the stress, but there is also our perception of what is happening. एक चीज हो गया, और second is what we think about it. That can add on to the stress, or that can help us take care of the stress. This is what we are focusing on in stress management. Recognizing that, yes, there are events which are going to upset us, but how much we get upset or how much we let it affect us, that is a lot in our hands. I'll give you an example. Now, thoughts, when we talk about thoughts, there are negative thoughts, there are positive thoughts, but essentially, if we divide thoughts, they are helpful, unhelpful, or neutral thoughts. And we are all intelligent people. So, दिमाग में सुबह से लेकर शाम तक थॉट पे थॉट आता ही रहता. However, one thing we can do is to remember that ये thought ही, सोच हमेशा सच नहीं होती, feelings facts नहीं, thoughts facts नहीं, thoughts. If we see them like that, we will be able to handle them better, manage them better, especially the negative thoughts. Because जब भी physically we are exhausted, mentally we are exhausted, negative experiences हुए हमारे साथ, तो हमारे दिमाग में negative thoughts ही आएंगे. That is human nature. That is not you being abnormal. That is human nature. However, ये unhelpful thoughts हमें आगे नहीं बढ़ने देते. ये unhelpful thoughts हमें respond नहीं करने देते ऐसी तरह से कि हम situation को handle कर सकें. So that can lead to negative emotions, negative behavior, negative consequences. उसी बात को हमको पकड़ना है और रोकना है. Like I said, identify, challenge, change. Identify the negative thoughts. जो problems तो हैं, लेकिन इस problems के बारे में जितना हमारा negative thought होगा, that is adding on. तो वो add on को हम निकालेंगे. हम challenge करेंगे thought को, and we will modify our thoughts, we will modify our emotions, we will modify our behavior so that stress does not spiral out of control. I'll give you an example. These are some of the things which we do when we are in a negative state of mind. ओवर जनरलाइजेशन. जैसे एक इवेंट हो गया, एक एग्जाम में हम फेल हो गए, ओह गॉड ये तो लाइफ खत्म हो गई, कुछ नहीं होने वाला. दैट इज ओवर जनरलाइजेशन. एक इवेंट हुआ और उसको हमने पूरे इस पे लगा दिया. कैटास्ट्रोफाइजेशन, जब हमको पता लगता है कि छोटी सी गलती हो गई, बस अब तो खत्म हो गया, अब कुछ नहीं होने वाला. अगेन एक बात का जिसको बोलते हैं बात का बतंगड़ बना. These are something that all of us do, especially when we are in a negative frame of mind. Labeling. ठीक है, मैं दिस इज एन एग्जाम्पल. जैसे मैं घर का ये काम अभी आज मैं नहीं कर पाई क्योंकि मैं टायर्ड हूँ. देखा, मैं अच्छी वाइफ नहीं हूँ, मैं अच्छी मदर नहीं हूँ, मैं अपनी बच्ची की मदद नहीं कर. तो हमने अपने आप को लेबल कर दिया. एक इवेंट जो हम नहीं कर पाए बिकॉज ऑफ XYZ रीजन, बिकॉज ऑफ फिजिकल टायर्डनेस, बिकॉज ऑफ आवर डिसऑर्डर, बिकॉज आज अच्छा दिन नहीं चल, तो हमने एक काम नहीं किया और उससे आई बिकेम अ बैड मदर और आई बिकेम अ बैड वाइफ. दैट इज लेबलिंग. वी आर लेबलिंग आवरसेल्व्स, व्हिच इज एडिंग ऑन टू द प्रेशर. ब्लैक और व्हाइट, ये सारे काम मुझे परफेक्टली करने हैं या तो बस परफेक्ट और नथिंग. वो गुड इनफ का जो ये है उसको माना ही नहीं जाता. दैट अगेन एड्स ऑन टू द स्ट्रेस. एंड ऑफ कोर्स द शुड्स एंड मस्ट्स. आई हैव डन ऑल राइट, व्हाई इज दिस हैपनिंग टू मी, दिस शुड नॉट हैपन टू मी. आई एम टेलिंग दिस लाइक दिस, मैं इतने इससे गुजर रही, कोई समझ क्यों नहीं रहा. दे शुड अंडरस्टैंड, दे हैव टू. ऑल दीज शुड्स एंड मस्ट जो हम अपने आप पे लगाते हैं, वर्ल्ड पे लगाते हैं, they can again add on to our stress. This is where we talk about जैसे cognitive behavior therapy, या जो सर भी आगे आके बात करेंगे. उसमें क्या है, essentially we are learning to manage the thoughts, to manage the emotions, to manage the behavior, to manage the consequences, and of course positive self talk. Now हम लोग सबसे ज्यादा टाइम अपने सर में बिताते हैं with ourselves. So let's make sure that the talk we have with ourselves is kind, it's compassionate. ऐसे बात करें जैसे हम अपने सबसे प्यारे दोस्त से बात कर रहे हैं. अपने आप पे इतना हार्श नहीं. This is again an example of that, कि क्या क्या थॉट्स आ रहे हैं, ये थॉट्स मुझे किस तरह से फीलिंग करवा रहे हैं, मैंने किस तरह से रिएक्ट किया, इससे अच्छा हुआ कि बुरा हुआ. उस हिसाब से when we have an idea of where our thoughts are taking us, we can take our thoughts in other directions. And this is exactly what we are talking about, thought management as a part of stress management. There is also another way of handling this, which is called acceptance and commitment therapy, which will be spoken about later by Sir. So this was just my overview on the various stressors, on the various things that can happen, on some of the things to manage the stress, the depression, the anxiety related to chronic diseases, particularly pulmonary hypertension. And now I call forward Sir to talk about the rest of the stress management. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Aparna.
Okay, so hello everyone, and hello to the Pulmonary Hypertension India team for accommodating us on this day just before Valentine's Day. It's of course the day of love, and we from our hospital would also like to send our love to all those people out there who are listening to us currently.
Thank you.
With that, I will start my you would say training on how to manage stress. So as you saw from Dr. Aparna, that it is basically how to change your attitude, which will help you to can you see me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So it is basically how to change your attitude, which will help you to react better to stress. So the whole thing starts from learning to adapt. Okay, so rather than reacting to any stressful situation, it would be more beneficial for you if you could control your emotions. And you can control your emotions by first reframing what situations you are facing currently, which means avoiding to create even more stressful situations by reacting to the situations. Secondly, adjusting your expectations. That is why I like these people who travel by second class, because in the second class of a train, there is always the fourth seat. So they know कि थोड़ा adjust कीजिए, right? First class में क्या होता है, खड़े रहो आप, ठीक है, फोर्थ सीट मिलेगा नहीं आपको. लेकिन सेकंड क्लास में थोड़ा सा वो एडजस्ट करने को सिखाते हैं. सो लर्निंग टू बी सेटिस्फाइड विद समटाइम्स गुड इनफ, learning to set limits for yourself, and of course learning to say no sometimes to ourselves. Because unfortunately, especially what I've seen in India, parents, well, they simply pamper their kids silly, you know, so they want to give their children all that they had never faced before, okay, never had before. They want to share it with their kids. And then what happens? The kids demand something and the parent fulfills this demand. The kid demands something and जो है माँ और पिताजी अपने बेटे की या बिटिया की हर ख्वाहिश पूरी करते हैं. यानी क्या? ना सुनने की आदत डाली ही नहीं है आज तक. And then when they face life, the first thing they hear is no. Okay, especially on Valentine's Day, sometimes they will hear no. कि अभी नहीं, sorry. And then they may go into depression. So learning to say no is a very, very important skill, especially to yourself. Looking at the bigger picture, seeing how important things will be in the long run. कि ये सब जो कर रहे हैं हम, कल के कितना फायदा होगा, इसके बारे में बीच बीच में सोचना चाहिए. Learn to analyze your thoughts, feelings and behavior. यानी क्या? हर समय हमें अपने आप के जो विचार है, जो आचार है और अपनी भावनाओं को देखना चाहिए, एग्जामिन करना चाहिए कि ये जो हम स्ट्रैटेजीज यूज कर रहे हैं, क्या ये हमारी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर रही है या प्रॉब्लम को बढ़ा रही है. कभी कभी हम गुस्सा होते हैं, कभी कभी हम ऐसे अपशब्द बोल देते हैं, तो फिर हमें सोचना चाहिए कि ये गुस्से से और ये जो मैंने अभी बोला मेरे बीवी को या बच्चे को, इससे प्रॉब्लम हल हुई है या प्रॉब्लम ज्यादा हो गई है. तो जो डॉक्टर अपर्णा ने कहा, डिस्प्लेसमेंट, अपना स्ट्रेस खुद हैंडल करना सीखिए. दैट इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. डू नॉट डिस्प्लेस योर स्ट्रेस onto other people. Which is the metaphor which describes your life best? बीच बीच में हमें ये करना है कि एक मेटाफर यानी उदाहरण, कि ऐसा कहा गया है एक्सेप्टेंस थेरेपी में कि हमें ये करना है कि हमारा जीवन जो हम जी रहे हैं ये कैसा है. Is it like a deck of cards? Because life can be compared to a deck of कार्ड्स. और जो हमें डेस्टिनी ने, नेचर ने जो कार्ड्स दिए हैं, वो तो हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते. जैसे जेनेटिक्स हो, अपने माता पिता हो, अपनी फैमिली हो, अपनी रेस हो, कल्चर हो, इसको जो है हमने चूज नहीं किया है, हमें ये दिया गया है बाय वे ऑफ आवर डेस्टिनी और बाय वे ऑफ अपना नसीब बोलो या जो भी है. बट यू आर बोर्न विद दैट. नाउ टू कंप्लेन अबाउट, अरे बाप रे मुझे जो है ना जिंदगी ने ऐसे पत्ते दिए, इससे तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला, इससे तो और भी डिप्रेशन में आप चले जाओगे. इससे अच्छा है कि इन जो पत्तों के साथ हमें खेलना आना चाहिए. वी मस्ट लर्न हाउ टू विन विथ whatever set of cards we have. That is very, very important. Another metaphor which is very, very interesting, which is told in acceptance therapy, is the sailing boat metaphor, which is that कि ऐसा डिस्क्राइब किया गया है कि जिंदगी है अपनी बोट, और कभी कभी वो बोट में जो है तूफान के वजह से पानी आ जाता है, तो वो अपने पैर जो है पानी में डूब जाते हैं. तो पैर गीले हुए, इसे हम जो है वो पानी निकालना चाहते हैं. वो है जिंदगी की समस्याएं, डिफिकल्टीज विच आर देयर इन लाइफ. तो क्या मैं इतना बिजी हूं अपनी समस्याओं को हल करने के लिए कि मैं जिंदगी को जीना भूल गया? Have I forgotten how to live because I'm removing the water from my boat? Is it that way? Are you so busy bailing out that water that you've forgotten in which direction your boat is going? इसके बारे में सोचना चाहिए. तो इससे क्या होगा? इससे हमें समझ में आएगा कि जो हम अभी कर रहे हैं, क्या ये मेरे लिए अच्छा है? क्या इससे मेरी जिंदगी और भी अच्छी हो रही है, या मेरी जिंदगी और भी बिगड़ रही है? क्या क्या मैं जो रोज रोज अपने बच्चों पे गुस्सा कर रहा हूँ उससे मेरी जिंदगी और भी अच्छी हो रही है, या वो जो है मेरे बच्चे मेरे से दूर हो रहे हैं? तो ये सब जो चीजें हैं इनके बारे में सोचना इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Sometimes life might deal you some problem which cannot be solved. Okay, for example some illness हो, या अभी साइकेट्री में जो है काफी सारी बीमारियां हैं जिनका क्योर नहीं है, जैसे स्किजोफ्रेनिया वगैरह. तो इनका क्योर नहीं है, लेकिन पेशेंट को दवाई दे दे के जीना पड़ता है, लेकिन पेशेंट अच्छे से जी लेता है दवाई से. So it's very important at that time to cultivate a willingness to sit with the difficult or the painful problem. Sometimes it is good. Sometimes it is good to just sit down and reflect. Ki, can we change this? Or is it possible that we focus on other things? यानी बोट के डायरेक्शन को हम दिशा दे रहे हैं या नहीं. This is very very important. So, in short, acceptance therapy teaches us to accept the things which we cannot change. So, there are some things in life which we cannot change, like for example, the behavior of others. हम दूसरों के स्वभाव को बदल नहीं सकते, लेकिन हाँ अपने स्वभाव को हम जरूर बदल सकते हैं. We can always look at the brighter side of life, and we will see how with certain exercises we can always start looking at the brighter side of life. And we can also learn to love ourselves. This is the most important thing which I feel in life, which differentiates a patient suffering from a psychological illness from a normal patient, a normal person. A normal person loves himself in the sense that he doesn't want to change anything. He just likes the way he is. उसको कुछ ये नहीं है कि काश में ऐसा होता, काश में वैसा होता. जैसा है वैसा ठीक है. अब मैं जो है आगे मुझे क्या करना है, मुझे कहाँ जाना है, कैसे बढ़ना है, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो लविंग योर सेल्फ. समटाइम्स वी डोंट लाइक द illnesses which destiny gives us. We don't like our family which destiny gives us. We don't like our society where we are, culture where we are. We just don't like so many things, which means we are not in love with ourselves. It's very important to first start with self love. पहले अपने से प्रेम करना सीखिएगा. धीरे धीरे वो प्रेम जो है दूसरों पे ओवरफ्लो होते रहेगा. Another very important metaphor of life is passengers on a bus. कि जिंदगी कैसी है? जिंदगी है कि मैं बस चला रहा हूं, मेरी जिंदगी की बस चला रहा हूं. उस पे जो है अनेक लोग आते हैं, उस पे चढ़ते हैं, उतरते हैं, चढ़ते हैं, उतरते हैं. और कोई लोग जो है ड्राइवर के पास ही खड़े होते हैं और ड्राइवर को सिखाते हैं, अरे अरे ऐसे मत चलाओ, ऐसे चलाओ, ऐसे मत चलाओ, ऐसे चलाओ. और वो जो है ड्राइवर का दिशाहीन करते हैं. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आप अपनी जिंदगी का बस चलाते हैं, आप अपनी जिंदगी की बोट चलाते हैं, आप अपनी जो है जो जिंदगी ने पत्ते दिए हैं उससे खेलते हैं. हाँ, दूसरों से एडवाइस लेना जरूरी है, लेकिन यू आर द बेस्ट जज फॉर योर लाइफ. एंड दिस विल कम व्हेन यू गिव अप ओल्ड पैटर्न्स ऑफ थिंकिंग. क्योंकि क्या है, हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में, स्कूल में हमें बाकी सब सिखाते हैं, लेकिन विचार कैसे करना ये सिखाते नहीं है. ABCD सिखाते हैं, लिखना सिखाते हैं, पढ़ना सिखाते हैं, एग्जाम देना सिखाते हैं, लेकिन विचार कैसे करना ये मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है. और ये सिर्फ साइकोलॉजी सिखाता है कि विचार कैसे करे. साइकोलॉजी ये सिखाता है कि विचार सिर्फ शब्द है. थॉट्स आर जस्ट वर्ड्स. ट्राई टू थिंक विदाउट वर्ड्स. ट्राई, कोशिश कीजिए विचार करने की. किसी का भी विचार कीजिए, लेकिन शब्द नहीं यूज करना। इससे आपको समझ में आएगा कि थॉट्स आर ओनली वर्ड्स, नथिंग एल्स। And if you remove those words, you will be able to change your thoughts. So, आप में और आपके विचारों में अंतर रखना सीखिएगा। आप अपने विचार नहीं है, यही तो साइकोलॉजी सिखाता है कि विचार और आप, सेल्फ, आर डिफरेंट। So it's very important to separate thought from self and sometimes become irrelevant towards those thoughts. यानी कभी कभी अपने विचारों पे हंस लिया कीजिए। अरे मेरे मन में ऐसे विचार आ रहे, शी ये किधर से आ रहे पता नहीं, शायद। तो अपने विचारों को इतना सीरियस लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, यही तो साइकोलॉजी सिखाता है। हम जो है अपने विचारों को इतना सीरियसली ले लेते हैं, अरे डॉक्टर मुझे ये विचार आया है, मुझे वो विचार आया है, क्यों ऐसे विचार आ रहे हैं, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। विचार आने दो, जो आएगा वो चला जाएगा अपने आप से ही। तो जिसे कहते हैं ओवर थिंकिंग। ओवर थिंकिंग यानी क्या? एक चीज के बारे में अति विचार करना। लेकिन विचार कम्स एट अ कॉस्ट, थॉट्स कम एट अ कॉस्ट। थॉट्स आर क्रिएटेड बाय द एनर्जी विच इज फ्लोइंग थ्रू द ब्रेन। तो अगर हम ज्यादा विचार करेंगे तो क्या हम थक नहीं जाएंगे? क्योंकि सारी एनर्जी हमारी उधर से चली जाती है। फिर लोग कंप्लेन करते हैं, अरे मेरे में कुछ एनर्जी ही नहीं है, मुझे पूरा टाइम ऐसा थका थका सा लग रहा है। हाँ, क्योंकि सब एनर्जी आपके विचारों में ही चली जा रही है। इससे क्या होगा कि जैसे जैसे हम अपने थॉट्स पे फोकस करते जाएंगे, वैसे वैसे अपने में और अपने थॉट्स में अंतर होना चालू हो जाएगा। एक बार अंतर होना चालू हो गया, फिर हम ऑब्जर्वेंट, डिटैच्ड एटीट्यूड से अपने विचारों को देख सकते हैं और उनको एनालाइज कर सकते हैं। और इसका जो है साइंटिफिक जो रीजनिंग ये है कि अपने विचार जो है वो लिम्बिक सिस्टम से आते हैं, यानी लोअर पार्ट्स ऑफ द ब्रेन। और जो हमारा एनालिटिकल मीन पावर है, बुद्धि जो है, ये अपर पार्ट्स ऑफ द ब्रेन से आता है, कॉर्टेक्स से आता है, स्पेशली फ्रॉम द फ्रंटल लोब। ओके, इसी को लोग जो है ये आयुर्वेद में, कुंडलिनी में आज्ञा चक्र वगैरह कुछ इसका नाम लेते हैं, लेकिन इट्स एक्चुअली द फ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स। ये जो पार्ट है ब्रेन का, फ्रंटल पार्ट, ये एनालिटिकल पार्ट है, और जो विचार है वो लोअर पार्ट्स ऑफ द ब्रेन से आते हैं। तो जब हम विचारों में और अपने में अंतर रखना सीखेंगे, तब हम अपने फ्रंटल पार्ट्स ऑफ द ब्रेन को एक्टिवेट करते हैं और हम विचारों को अच्छी तरह से एनालाइज कर सकते हैं। और ये आप करते जाएंगे, धीरे धीरे आप में और विचारों में अंतर आते जाएगा, और आप अपने विचारों पे नियंत्रण ला सकते हैं। और ये इमीडिएटली नहीं होगा, ये धीरे धीरे से स्मॉल स्टेप्स अगर आप लेंगे, रोज थोड़े समय तक ये प्रैक्टिस कीजिएगा कि कैसे हम और अपने विचारों में अंतर ला सकते हैं। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड माइंडफुलनेस। माइंडफुलनेस यानी अपने विचारों को का एग्जामिन करना और प्रेजेंट में रहना। हम आगे भी देखेंगे कि माइंडफुलनेस में और क्या क्या होता है। दूसरा एक चीज जो स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट में है वो है सपोर्ट सिस्टम्स। यानी दूसरों के साथ हम और हमारा रिश्ता। तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टुडे स्पेशली टू वर्क कलेक्टिवली इन ऑर्डर टू रिड्यूस द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ स्ट्रेस। इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हम जो है स्ट्रेस का इम्पैक्ट कम करने के लिए अपने लोगों के साथ, दोस्तों के साथ मिलजुल के हम रह सकते हैं। सो व्हाट आर द स्टेप्स फॉर स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट फॉर केयर गिवर्स? तो जो पेशेंट की देखभाल करते हैं उनके लिए क्या करना चाहिए? एवरीथिंग स्टार्ट्स विद सेल्फ, यानी अपना ख्याल रखो। और अपना ख्याल रखने का यानी अर्थ क्या है? हम 3 चीजों से बने हैं, बॉडी, माइंड और सोसाइटी, एनवायरमेंट। तो बॉडी के लिए मील्स, बैलेंस्ड मील्स लेना, एक्सरसाइज करना, स्लीप करना, ब्रेक्स लेना बीच बीच में, टेकिंग सम क्वाइट टाइम फॉर योरसेल्फ, थोड़ा टाइम आउट लेना, दोस्तों से मिलना। और अगर आपको लगे कि कोई चीज जो है अपने से नहीं हो रही है, तो वो एक्सेप्ट करके लोगों से मदद लेना। तो लोगों से मदद लेना यानी क्या, जैसे ये सपोर्ट ग्रुप्स है पल्मोनरी हाइपरटेंशन इंडिया के, या फिर काउंसलर्स है, साइकियाट्रिस्ट है, हम लोग है, तो हमसे आके थोड़ा देर बात करके टिप्स लेके आप जा सकते हैं। कि इससे क्या होगा कि हमारा मन जो है शांत होते जाएगा। वी विल बी मोर इन कंट्रोल ऑफ आवर सराउंडिंग्स। अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वे ऑफ स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट इज हमारी लिमिट्स को रिकग्नाइज करना। हम हमारे रिसोर्सेज क्या है, हम कितना फिजिकली, इमोशनली और साइकोलॉजिकली किसी को सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट मन में रखना चाहिए। अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू आर नॉट सुपरमैन या सुपर वुमन, ठीक है, हम सबके लिमिट्स है। सो टू बी एबल टू एक्सेप्ट दोज लिमिट्स and to be able to help your loved one within your limits, that is very very important. और अगर कोई ऐसे टर्मिनल इलनेस से पीड़ित है तो फिर पैलिएटिव केयर मेडिसिन है, साइकोलॉजिस्ट है, काउंसलर्स है, उनसे जो है एंड ऑफ लाइफ इश्यूज के बारे में काउंसलिंग लेना चाहिए। टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ प्रोफेशनल्स, स्पेशली इन द लीगल सिस्टम, की कुछ विल बनाना है या कुछ फाइनेंशियल हेल्प चाहिए या कुछ हेल्थ में चाहिए, तो इन सब प्रोफेशनल्स की मदद लेना जरूरी है। इससे हमें पता चलता है कि जीवन के 4 डायमेंशंस है। दिस इज कॉल्ड एज एग्जिस्टेंशियल थेरेपी। जीवन के 4 डिमेंशंस है। एक तो फिजिकल डायमेंशन, दूसरा सोशल डायमेंशन, तीसरा पर्सनल डायमेंशन और चौथा स्पिरिचुअल डायमेंशन। तो फिजिकल डायमेंशन में हमें ये देखना है और ये समझना है कि सिक्योरिटी कैन ओनली बी टेम्पररी। हम परमानेंटली जो हमेशा अपने आप को एकदम दीन और हीन मानते हैं, ये गलत बात है। सब जो पावर है वो अपने में ही है, ठीक है। सो इंस्टेड ऑफ थिंकिंग कॉन्स्टेंटली अबाउट डेथ, कि अभी मुझे मरना है, मुझे ये करना है, ये इसका ये होना है, तो बुरा बुरा सोचने से अच्छा है कि जितना भी टाइम है क्यों ना हम एंजॉय करें, क्यों ना हम ऐसा जिए कि हमें लगे कि आहा क्या जिंदगी है। तो दैट इज टू बी इन कंट्रोल ऑफ द फिजिकल डायमेंशन, कि जिंदगी पूरी तरह जीना, ये फिजिकल डायमेंशन को जीतना है। ये थेरेपी बताता है कि हमारे जितने भी लिमिटेशंस हो, हमें लगता है कि हाँ मेरी ये इलनेस से मुझे ये नहीं कर सकते, वो नहीं कर सकते, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। हम क्या कर सकते हैं उसके बारे में विचार कीजिए। इसके बारे में नहीं कि जो हम क्या क्या नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन क्या क्या कर सकते हैं, इसके बारे में जब हम विचार करने लगेंगे तब हमें सॉल्यूशंस मिलेंगे। यानी क्या, नॉट प्रॉब्लम ये ओरिएंटेड थिंकिंग बट सॉल्यूशन ओरिएंटेड थिंकिंग। हमेशा विचार जो है सॉल्यूशन ओरिएंटेड थिंकिंग ही होना चाहिए। सेकंड डायमेंशन जो अपने लाइफ का है वो है सोशल डायमेंशन। सोशल डायमेंशन में क्या है कि ये हम समझते हैं कि हम इस दुनिया में अकेले नहीं हैं, दूसरे भी हमारे साथ है। सब लोग स्ट्रेस में हैं, अपनी अपनी तरह से स्ट्रेस हैंडल कर रहे हैं, और हमें सबकी जरूरत है। हमें जो भी हमें लगता है कि हाँ हमें इनकी जरूरत नहीं है, नहीं, हमें सबकी जरूरत है। क्योंकि अगर हमने अपने आप को ऐसा समझा कि मुझे किसकी भी जरूरत नहीं है, फिर धीरे धीरे अकेलापन सेट इन होता है और हमें लोनलीनेस खाने लग जाता है। लोनलीनेस इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट इलनेसेस ऑफ द 21st century, एंड दिस इज एस्पेशली ट्रू इन द एल्डरली। बूढ़े लोगों में जो है ना, लोनलीनेस, अकेलापन, ये बहुत ही गंभीर समस्या है जो आजकल देखी जा रही है. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू ऑल्सो बी इन टच विथ पीपल. कभी कभी संडे को या किसी भी दिन को जस्ट कॉल अप पीपल, जस्ट फाइंड आउट. ठीक है, ऐसे ही क्यों फोन किया, ऐसे ही किया, जस्ट 5 मिनट बात करने के लिए. ठीक है, इससे क्या होगा कि वेदर somebody calls you or doesn't call you doesn't matter. ठीक है, you must be in touch with other people because we all need the other person for something or the other. तीसरा चीज है पर्सनल डायमेंशन. पर्सनल डायमेंशन में क्या है कि हमें लगता है कि जिंदगी जीने के लिए मुझे एक किताब मिलनी चाहिए, उस किताब में सब कुछ लिखा होना चाहिए कि जिंदगी बेस्ट जीनी कैसी है. अरे बाबा, ऐसी कोई किताब नहीं है किधर भी लिखी गई. आपकी जिंदगी सिर्फ आप जी सकते हो. इट इज ओनली व्हेन यू डिस्कवर दैट देयर इज नो रूल बुक दैट वी बिकम अवेयर ऑफ द पर्सनल डायमेंशन. कि जब हम अपने विचारों के साथ जीना सीखते हैं तब हम पर्सनल डायमेंशन को जीत सकते हैं. ये समझना है कि ऐसा कोई विचार जो है वो अपने को हानिकारक नहीं है. हम ही उस विचार को गलत तरीके से उसको लेबल करते हैं और सोचते हैं कि अरे ये तो हानिकारक विचार आ गया. नहीं बाबा, विचार आते हैं चले जाते हैं, आपके लिए वो कुछ भी हानि नहीं कर सकते. सिर्फ उन पे ध्यान तभी देना चाहिए जब वो यूजफुल हो. सो मैन एंड वुमेन आर कंडेम्ड टू बी फ्री, एज इट सेड. We are free to choose our own decision, but then one is also condemned to reap the benefits or losses. तो हमें जिंदगी ने फ्रीडम ऑफ चॉइस दी है, लेकिन उस चॉइस के लिमिटेशंस ये है कि जो भी चॉइस हम करेंगे उसके जो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस है उसको तो हमें फेस करना ही है. इसीलिए जो है अच्छे हैबिट्स रखो. सिगरेट, शराब, ये सब जो मादक पदार्थ है उससे दूर रहो. अच्छे हैबिट्स अगर आप पहले से ही रखेंगे फिर ऑटोमेटिकली उसके जो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस है वो आपको कम दिखाई देंगे. सो हैबिट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट is the personal dimension, the third phase. And then comes the spiritual dimension. Spiritual dimension ये है कि there is always a struggle between जिंदगी का पर्पस एंड जिंदगी मीनिंगलेस है. तो जो स्पिरिचुअल है थोड़ा बहुत, ठीक है, वो एक पर्पस, एक मेथड, एक मीनिंग लाते हैं जिंदगी में. और इससे क्या होता है कि वी फील दैट वी आर वॉच्ड ओवर और वी फील सेफ कि हाँ ठीक है, कोई तो है जो अपना सहारा है. सो प्रेयर इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ द स्पिरिचुअल डायमेंशन जो जनरली हम डेवलप नहीं करते. प्रेयर डेवलप करना जो है, नहीं तो क्या होता है कि वी फील अबैंडन्ड, वी फील परसिक्यूटेड बाय दैट पर्टिकुलर इवेंट. So these are all the 4 parts of existential therapy, जिसमें physical dimension हो, if we gain it, we will be living life to the full. Personal dimension है, if we gain that, then we discover stamina and strength, inner strength. Spiritual dimensions हो तो एक system of rules आते हैं by which we live by, and social dimension हो तो एक support system हमसे बनाई जाती है जिससे हमें फायदा होता है. So that is about the existential therapy. And last we come to mindfulness therapy. Mindfulness therapy में क्या है कि आज का काम आज करो और उसमें काम में रेस्ट और रिलैक्सेशन होना जरूरी है. रोज जो है रिलैक्सेशन करना जरूरी है. रिलैक्सेशन यानी क्या? रिलैक्सेशन यानी your eyes are closed but you're not sleeping. तो लोग मेरे पास आते हैं, सर जब भी मैं मेरी आंखें बंद करता हूं then I'm sleeping. अरे नहीं बाबा, वो तो स्लीप है, वो रिलैक्सेशन नहीं है. रिलैक्सेशन में द ब्रेन हैज टू गो इनटू द अल्फा मोड. जब ब्रेन अल्फा मोड में चला जाता है तब ऑटोमेटिकली रिलैक्सेशन चालू होता है. On this alpha mode is seen on the electroencephalogram. So remember, do something which you enjoy every day and do it every day. Keep your sense of humor. थोड़े जो माइंडफुलनेस टेक्निक्स है वो मैं अभी आपको, अगर आप इंटरेस्टेड हो तो आप फॉलो कर सकते हैं. जैसे हिप्नोसिस है, प्रोग्रेसिव मसल रिलैक्सेशन है, माइंडफुलनेस बेस्ड स्ट्रेस रिडक्शन है.
Doctor, I have a suggestion. How about we take questions, and as part of your answers, you can include these techniques that you're speaking about.
Sure. Why not? I'll just finish.
Sure.
Give me 2 minutes. Yeah. So mindfulness breathing है. Mindfulness breathing में how to focus on your breath है. Mindfulness 5 senses exercises है. So which if you are interested, I can teach you. It takes just 5-6 minutes. So mindfulness से क्या होता है? Mindfulness से mind becomes less reactive. हम judgmental नहीं होते. We don't pass very quick judgments on people. We start accepting things easily. हमें difficulty नहीं रहती. ठीक है. नहीं तो बहुत सारे लोग मेरे पास आते हैं, नहीं मेरे से ये एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं होता कि मेरी मदर इन लॉ ऐसी है. मेरी मदर इन लॉ ऐसी क्यों है? मेरे डैडी ऐसे क्यों है? मेरा बच्चा ऐसे क्यों है? ठीक है. तो डॉक्टर आप मेरे मदर इन लॉ को बदलो, मेरे बच्चे को बदलो, मेरे डैडी को बदलो, लेकिन मैं नहीं बदलना चाहता. मैं तो ऐसे का ऐसा ही रहने वाला हूं. तो ये जो है माइंडफुलनेस विल टीच यू हाउ टू बिकम more accepting of a particular situation. So because there is this called as a serenity prayer. I don't know whether you all know, but it's very well done in the Alcoholics Anonymous. Serenity prayer ये है कि God give me the serenity to accept the things which I cannot change, courage to change the things which I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So this serenity prayer, which is very, very famous, which was made by Reinhold way back, I think in the 1800s. He was the one to make this prayer. So another thing in mindfulness is the 3 good things exercise, which means that रोज रात को सोने से पहले 3 चीजें जो आपके साथ अच्छी हुई है उनके बारे में लिखना सीखो. इससे क्या होगा कि माइंड जो रोज रात को आपको सताता है ना सोने से पहले, जिसके वजह से नींद नहीं आती लोगों को रात को, ये आपको बंद हो जाएगा. So this is called the 3 good things exercise. So imagine, so I end my talk with the song and a prayer. The song is कि रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के. So we are all ओराही, ठीक है, जो एक जर्नी पे है. एंड इट इज हियर दैट फॉर सम ऑफ अस जर्नी में इट कैन बिकम वेरी वेरी ओवरवेलमिंग कि नो लाइफ इज जस्ट टू मच, ये तो बहुत हो गया, ये तो मेरे से सहा ही नहीं जाता. और कोई जो है वो इजीली जी सकते हैं, उसमें कोई इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं है. तो ये जो चीज है कि दोनों अपनी अपनी नजरियों से लाइफ देखते हैं. Hence we should know that life is much more than we can imagine, and therefore it's very important that people take up at least some form of counseling or psychotherapy to understand how life is to be lived. क्योंकि ये साइकोलॉजी में ही सिखाते हैं कि हमें अपने विचारों पे कैसे नियंत्रण लाना है, और विचार तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है. विचारों पे नियंत्रण कैसे लाना है, विचार बदलने कैसे है, और हाउ यू कैन लीड अ बेटर लाइफ विद लेस ऑफ स्ट्रगलिंग एंड मोर ऑफ लिविंग. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, Doctor. We are going to open to questions now. I'm going to enable chat. And I would also like whoever wants to ask a question to please raise their hand so that I could enable you to speak as well. Are there any questions?
Professor Parul, highlight.
Yeah. Good evening, doctor. This was really very good talk which we had, and it was a real learning. My only request to you is if you could show those exercises which you said it will be 5 or 6 minutes. It will help us a lot.
Yeah, certainly. So for that, I'll just have to open my. Yeah. So one of the exercises is, just give me a minute. Yeah. So one of the exercises is the mindfulness-based stress reduction exercise, in which we have to do first is mindfulness 5 senses exercise. तो उसमें क्या होता है कि wherever you are, just sit down. Okay, means I hope you all are paying attention to me.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to see. Okay, so I'm assuming now that you all are paying attention to me. And wherever you are, just sit down in your chair. Okay, with your hands in your lap. You should be sitting straight in the chair, not tense, but resting against the backrest of your chair. Your hand should be in your lap, and your hand should be relaxed in your lap. Now, as you're resting in your chair, try to see 5 things around you and label them. So currently I would say I'm seeing my laptop, I'm seeing the table, I'm seeing the door, I'm seeing you on the slide. And the 5th thing is I'm seeing the window, I'm seeing outside. Oh, what lovely birds are there. The 4 things which you can feel, that's the next step. Try to feel the chair in which you're sitting in. Try to feel the floor against your feet. Try to feel your hands against your thighs. You're resting your hands on your thighs. Try to feel your hands on your thighs. Try to feel the touch of your dress upon your skin. Try to feel that. Feeling it? Yeah, feeling it? Okay. 3 things which you can hear. Try to pay attention to what all things which you can hear. So currently you can hear my voice. For all those who are listening to me, you can hear my voice. You can hear the surrounding sounds. I can hear the AC. And if you're quiet enough, you will be able to hear your heartbeats. You can able to hear your pulse. You will be able to hear your breathing. 2 things which you can smell. So just take a deep breath, smell the air around you. You can raise your right hand to your face and you can smell your right hand and bring it back down on your thighs. 2 things which you can smell. And 1 thing which you can taste. So become aware of the taste within your mouth. Feel the taste within your mouth. And as you're feeling this, automatically your eyes will close. The moment your eyes close, focus on your breathing. Now we are going to the mindfulness breathing exercise. Focus upon your breathing. Feel the air going in and out, in and out, in and out. And now slowly spread this relaxation from your eyes, because your eyes are closed, and relaxed. Command your eyes to relax. How do you command your eyes to relax? By saying the word relax in your mind. So focus on your eyes, say the word relax, and your eyes will relax. Now spread this relaxation throughout your body. From your eyes, throughout your body. And by body, which means you have to focus on all parts of your body, slowly, slowly, one by one, till you reach your feet. So you start off with the head, then the neck, then the shoulders. Shoulders are very important. So you have to learn to relax your shoulders. Then the chest, the legs, the feet. Relax your whole body. Now this will ground you into the present immediately. Immediately, within seconds, you are into the present. And you will see there will be a gap in your thinking. What were you thinking for all this time while you were doing this exercise? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You are just focusing on this exercise. You are thinking nothing. You are paying attention. Paying attention is not thinking. So this will develop this gap which I was telling you between your self, which is your conscious awareness, and your thoughts. Once you develop this gap between your conscious awareness and your thoughts, your thinking will automatically start slowing down. And within your control. What I mean by slowing down means you will be in control of your thoughts. Your thoughts will not be in control of you. That's what you have to understand. That is how we develop control over our thinking, by just the simple practice of mindfulness. Daily do this exercise, the 5 senses exercise and the mindfulness breathing and relaxation exercise. At least maintain this state for 5 to 10 minutes initially. Gradually, you can extend this state for any amount of time you like, half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever time. But be in this relaxed state. By relaxed state means your eyes are closed, you're sitting, but you're not sleeping. And while you are doing this exercise, relaxation, you may also use visualization techniques. It's called visualization or imagery techniques, where you visualize a beautiful scene, or you can visualize your, if you're spiritual, you can visualize your deity. If you're into going to beaches of Goa, then you can visualize that. Visualize that you're relaxing, you're becoming more potent, you're becoming more positive. And you will see automatically, as you're commanding, as you're visualizing, your body is responding in that manner. But first, of course, you have to practice the mindfulness based 5 senses exercise and the breathing, and only then you can do the visualization. Once you are in that relaxed state, then you can do the visualization. And you will see how your thoughts then slowly change, and you're more and more in control of your situation. Another very important exercise is the 3 good things exercise. That before you sleep is the time you will get maximum thoughts. And all those thoughts will all be about anxiety and all the worries of the day and of tomorrow, and how things are bad and how things are going to get even worse. And all those kind of silly thoughts we will get before we sleep. Anxiety is maximum either at the time of awakening in the morning time or at the time of sleeping. That is a well-known fact. So what is to be done during this time is, before you sleep, practice writing at least 3 good things which have happened to you during the day. You might have helped someone. You might have, told some good thing to someone, right? Somebody complimented you. And feel the good emotions which are there of that moment, which happened to you. Right? For example, you gave some gift to your loved one on Valentine's Day. So on the Valentine's night, you can then remember, oh, how good it was. How did I feel? So practice these positive emotions. To get rid of negative emotions, we have to practice positive emotions. Only then the negative emotions will slowly release their hold over us. And whenever you speak, try to speak positive emotions. Yes, we can do it. Yes, I can. Possible. It's possible. Why not? It can be done. Once we start this positivity exercise within us, slowly, slowly, negativity loses its hold over us. And we no longer then are the prisoners of our thoughts. Many patients I've seen are the prisoners of their thoughts. They can't just control their thoughts. It's just a complete horror show in their mind. So if someone were to peek inside their minds, they will be shocked at the kind of horror show which is going on over there. But by practicing these exercises which are there, gradually we will be more in control of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So mindfulness is one of the best methods of trying to get control, or of trying to, not even control, I would say. Control is a very strong word. I would say just trying to be aware of our thoughts. Okay, just seeing them pass by, like we do, like the driver of a bus. You know how the driver of a bus just sees the passengers get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. He has no emotions towards those passengers. Similarly, you, the conscious self awareness, will also stop reacting to the thoughts and emotions which are debilitating, and you will start paying more emotion, means importance. You will start giving more importance to the thoughts which are useful for you and the emotions which make you happier. Practice this, okay? And at least say, or at least read the serenity prayer once. If not, take a Xerox and paste it on your mirrors. It's very important, because there are some things in life which we cannot change, which we have to accept. And there are some things in life which we can definitely change, like our thoughts. Okay, we can definitely change them, and we can achieve control over them. So have the courage to change these thoughts, and have the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much.
Doctor, can I take a couple more questions?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah. So there's a question that was asked right in the beginning of the session. Why me? This is a question a lot of newly diagnosed patients ask, and probably they continue asking for the rest of their diagnosis.
Correct.
So how do you address that, the why me question?
Yeah, so I come back to my metaphor of life, which is the deck of cards. So when we are playing a game of cards, we are dealt certain cards. We don't have any choice in that. So why me is, there are certain things in life which we are just dealt with. For example, the parents. We can't choose our parents. We can't choose the color of our skin. That is the way it is. We can't choose our nationality. Okay, although someone would like to become an American and would love to live in America, yet he's born in India. Can we? Okay, so there are many things in life which we cannot choose, right? So this question itself will bring you no answers, right? It should not be why me. It should be, I will show the way. That should be the answer, not why me. It should be, I will show the way. I will be happy myself with whatever cards I have been dealt with. And I will show how to win, even with the hand which I've got. Even with the number of cards which I've got, I will show people how to win. So it starts with, yes, I can. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can improve. Yes, it's possible for me. This is the way. So ask the right questions in order to get the correct answers. If even to a computer, if you ask the wrong question, computer will not give you an answer. Right? So in life, learn to ask the right questions. Learn to first is how to develop a distance between our thoughts and ourselves. Then we are more in control of ourselves. Okay, this question comes because we accept whatever the mind is telling us, right? So this question will not come to the conscious awareness or to the intelligence within us. This question will come to the emotional part of the mind. Okay, and we should differentiate between the two.
Okay.
So ask the right questions, and of course you will succeed. It's possible.
Doctor, there's a question from a patient named Balaji. His question is, how do you know the fatigue is stress related or mental issue related, or if it's a physical manifestation of PH? Because as you know, fatigue is a constant symptom with PH. So how do you
Yes,
know that
yes.
this
So there are many symptoms which are common to PH as well as psychology. For example, fatigue, tiredness, breathlessness, anxiety. These are all common to both PH as well as to psychological issues. But one very important physical symptom which differentiates the two is edema, swelling. So when the
Not
body,
always, doctor, not always. Edema
yeah,
usually
exactly,
presents in right heart failure, which not everybody is immediately in.
exactly, and that is what I was coming to.
Okay.
Many a times the fatigue could just be psychological, right? But if the body is showing certain signs, okay, which are really worrying, right? Like for example, pedal or blurring of vision or fainting spells, right? These are signs which are not seen in psychology. Secondly, is psychological signs and symptoms will also be accompanied by other signs and symptoms of psychology. For example, mood changes, anger outbursts, sadness, hopelessness, worthlessness, suicidal thoughts or feelings, death wishes, right? So all these things which are there, if accompanying fatigue, point more toward a psychological issue than more of a physical issue.
Doctor, I'd like to ask a follow-up question to this.
Sure,
Why,
go ahead.
why is it, to have these feelings of worthlessness, all the psychological symptoms that you just mentioned? Why is it why is it abnormal to have them? Given our condition, most of us are going to die young. Let's face that. Not most patients don't even make it to the 60s and 70s. Idiopathic patients die within a few years. So why is it not normal to actually experience this? And why is the society telling us that this is abnormal? This, you shouldn't have this, deal with
No,
this,
it,
with
it,
that.
it is not that it is abnormal. It is stopping you from enjoying your life to the fullest.
But in what sense? In the sense that
That-
where is the enjoyment part over here? And I'm asking this because I'm also a patient and I've seen this
Certainly.
question from
I totally
other
understand.
patients. Yeah.
I totally understand that. What you have to understand is, from this earth, no one is going to go away alive. No one. Okay, no one leaves this planet alive. Everyone has got their D-day. Everyone has got an expiry date. Everyone. And we don't know when that expiry date is going to come. Doctors only speculate. Oh, it's just 7 months or 7 years or something. These are all speculations, right? People have died via accidents. They die immediately. Corona has killed so many in my family, right? Suddenly, without any notice, Corona comes and just wipes away someone, right? And they had certain plans. They had certain wishes. Is it not? So it should
We
not.
actually don't fear death, doctor. Most of us don't fear death.
No, just hear me out. No,
Okay.
hear me out. So that is why we have to understand is that whatever little time we have to live it to the best of our ability, right? It is when we get stuck with these negative emotions of worthlessness and helplessness, that is a problem. It is preventing us from experiencing life to our optimum, whatever we can, right? Whatever is possible, right? Otherwise, we are preventing even that. Obsessing over things which we have no control over. And that is why I come back to the serenity prayer again and again. The serenity prayer will teach us acceptance. The Serenity Prayer will teach us to have courage in the face of adversity, to overcome these things. Yes, totally understood that it is a very, very serious illness to have. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But by focusing on feelings of worthlessness and helplessness and other feelings, we are actually preventing us from moving forward. That is the thing.
Doctor, may I ask, how do you find your worth? If you're not able to work, you're not able to participate in family, you're not able to have the normal things that people participate in their lives, get married, have children, have a career, buy things, you're not able to do that. And possibly you don't have the money now to even finance your hobbies and passions. So how do you find worth?
That is why counseling is necessary, na Baba? that is why I come back to why. See, because each one's priorities are different, okay, in which they will find worth or they will find happiness in. Your priorities are different from what some other patient might be having priorities with.
So counseling helps in identifying those for the individual.
Identifying those,
correct,
because there is no cut and dried solution for everyone. It is like choosing an antibiotic. You know how we choose
Right.
an antibiotic. So for each patient, the antibiotic is different. And that is why counseling is a must for those with especially chronic diseases, because counseling helps them to choose, gives them choices. Okay, this is possible. Okay, this is what I like. This is what I should do. Vis-a-vis a blanket, no, I cannot do this. No, I
Correct.
cannot do that.
Doctor, what kind of counseling do you recommend for patients like us? Because there are so many different aspects, and they are, to us, they are just jargon. So if you could recommend what would ideally suit someone like us, our kind of patients?
Mainly REBT, CBT, and mindfulness. These
Okay.
three are really, really important.
Could you give me the full form of REBT? It is
Rational emotive behavior therapy,
okay.
cognitive behavior therapy,
Yeah.
and mindfulness. Stress reduction.
Okay, we would like to, we would discuss this in the group, and we'll talk about sessions.
It will definitely help.
Yes.
Shalaka, just 1 second.
Yeah.
What about EFT, doctor?
You're breaking. Could you repeat your question?
Shalaka, meanwhile, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Who was asking? Okay,
What about
Professor Parul was asking.
Acha, is she?
Parul?
Yeah.
I just wanted to know REBT, CBT, and what about EFT, doctor? The EFT tapping?
Oh, that. Okay. Well, that does not have a psychological approval as of now. Okay, it is not a frontline based psychological therapy. EFT comes more into hypnotherapy. Okay, it's more aligned with hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is also good. No doubt about it. Hypnotherapy is good, but sometimes I see hypnotherapy. Many a times the hypnotherapists they go into the spiritual dimension. Means they do something. They talk about something which is beyond science. Okay, so yeah, I mean it's fine. Okay, if you can do hypnotherapy, even that is fine, but it should basically include mindfulness, because these are all therapies which have been researched by science and have been found to have good outcomes vis-a-vis other therapies. Hypnotherapy too is researched a lot in Europe, but unfortunately we don't have so many practitioners in India who do pure hypnotherapy, which is called as medical hypnosis. So medical hypnosis is very, very good. It's practiced in Europe mainly, but but in India you will find mainly people doing mindfulness and REBT, CBT, REBT.
Okay. Dr. Vidisha, just one moment. I want to ask Runjan's question, which came in earlier. She's talking about being torn between the opinions of people about my sickness, including my caregivers and doctors, that say I should take adequate rest, listen to my body, and not overexert. But there are also people who tell me that I'm unnecessarily stressing and that I get my symptoms because I overthink and they are not real. So nowadays I get affected very easily by what people say to me.
Correct.
So
So I
the
would
question
say
is, what should I not get affected by and change my opinion about myself according to what people say?
Okay, so firstly, I would say listen to the advice for which you pay for. Okay, because that is the advice which matters to you. Do not listen to advice which is free.
Yeah.
Okay, anything which is free is harmful to you. Okay, so whatever advice you pay for it, right? Listen to it. So listen to your counselors, listen to the doctors, right? Listen to the mental health professionals, right? And the others, see in India, yeah, I would say everyone in India is a doctor. They all have their own opinions about medicine. This is good, that is good, this is bad, that is bad. Okay, but I would listen to someone who has dedicated his life to the science. Okay, vis-a-vis someone who's just read it over the internet and telling me something about it. Right? So listen to your doc, listen to the counselors who have been practicing for a long time in this science, right? Because theirs is the advice which is important.
Vidisha, you want to ask a question?
Yes, actually, a few of the participants forwarded me this. We have young patients, young PH patients. They are very young kids, even say 6, 7, 8 years old,
Yeah.
and it's difficult for their parents to convince them that uh, they are okay, they are not that sick. I mean, the children get discouraged very early, very quickly, very easily. How to convince these children that you can still live your life? It's not over. You can.
Precisely. And that starts with the parents. Okay, because remember, the parents themselves get affected when their child is diagnosed with an illness which is lethal. Okay, and the parents themselves might be suffering from some form of post-traumatic stress, grief reactions, bereavement. So they need to be tackled along with the child, especially. So whenever I'm seeing a child patient, the first thing I look is the parents. What is the interaction between the parents? How are they interacting between one another? What is the environment at home which the child is subjected to? See, remember, the child is a blank slate. Okay, it is the society and the parents and the family which writes on it, and then they start imbibing those characteristics which they are seeing being played out in front of them. So for example, I'll give you an example. Suppose I get a child who is extremely angry or extremely stubborn, right? First I see how the parents are there. Okay, is the father very angry? Okay, back answering the mother, hitting the mother maybe, right? So all these things play a very very important role in the child's psyche. So it is not individualistic like we do in adults. In children we have to treat the whole family, which means the parents, maybe even the grandparents, because nowadays the grandparents also stay with their kids many a times. So maybe even them. So take the whole family into consideration when we are treating the child.
So what happens, like when we have young children with us, more than violence, parents are worried about that my child is going to die in a few days. What is, or if I have a disease, what will happen to my children after me? So both of these questions are something which a lot of patients right now are asking. How do I cope with that feeling that either I'm going to die soon and there's nobody going to who's going to take care of my child, or my child is going to die soon? How do I cope up with this? Is it even possible to come out of that worry?
Yes, very much it is possible. It is very much possible, because these questions are faced by kids having other illnesses also which are fatal. Okay, kids having cancers, juvenile diabetes, a whole load of other metabolic disorders. Okay, who are facing, and they and their parents are facing the same problems, and that is why it's very important to undergo counseling, especially for palliative care. Okay, so it all comes in palliative care counseling. So please meet your mental health professionals and get it sorted out quickly. That would be my advice. Because as I say, there is no blanket advice. Okay, there is no thing which I'll tell you, okay, you do 1, 2, 3, 4. The blanket things have already been discussed, right? But the individualistic things, the means you can say designing of the therapy is on a one-to-one basis. It is not generalized, and you will not be getting it over the internet. Okay, so so understand that. Meet your counselor, meet your mental health professional as soon as possible, whenever it's possible, and get it sorted out so that you will be able to lead your life fully.
Okay. Doctor, we have a question from a patient named Ayush who wants to know how to tell, sorry, he's a caregiver, I think, how to tell patients, what not to tell patients by the caregivers. As in basically, how should caregivers deal with patients?
How to, sorry?
What should caregivers not tell the patients? So it's a very tricky question, what not to tell.
Yes, obviously. I mean, you can't shock the patient, okay? And please don't be angry on the patient every time. Understand that the patient is a patient, right? So first is understanding, acceptance that the patient is the way he or she is because of the illness which he's facing, okay? And to look after the patient by first looking after yourself, because sometimes we hit back to the patient because we ourselves are not in that space, you know, of taking care, what we call as caregiver burnout. So we suffer from caregiver burnout, caregiver stress, and we are probably depressed, grieving, and then we are taking care of a patient, right? And that sort of adds to the issue. So it's very important to first take care of yourself, okay? See that you are in a good mental space, and then automatically we will be able to interact with the patient without telling them hurtful things, okay? Yes, be truthful, but also be compassionate. It's very important to have compassion, caregivers especially, because you are not wearing that shoe. The shoe hurts the person who's wearing it, right? So similarly, compassion as a caregiver is very, very important, along with acceptance of what he or she is because of whatever he or she is suffering from. And then accordingly choose your words before you say anything. It's better to keep quiet instead of saying something silly. Okay.
Yeah. Doctor, there's a question on young mothers. A lot of times we've seen.
It's 5:40. It's already. I mean, I got to go. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Aparna, as well.
Take up the last question.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is for young mothers. We have women presenting with PH symptoms and therefore diagnosis immediately after pregnancy. That's one category of PH that we've noticed. What do you have to say to these young mothers, because they are already full of emotions and hormones of different kind,
Yes,
and now they're facing a fatal disease?
Yes. So it's very important. Pregnancy and delivery are one of the most sensitive times of a woman, because that is the time when there are hormonal shifts, and that is the time when she is mentally almost very, very vulnerable. And if when faced with these issues, the person can break down into depression, anxiety, and other disorders very, very easily. Especially so if there is a past history of depression or anxiety, or if there is a family history of any mood disorders or any schizophrenias which are there. So the person can break down during these sensitive times in their lives, and especially when faced with something as severe as pulmonary hypertension. Right, so it's very important that they, along with their gynecologist, they also include the help of a mental health professional, and of course to follow the symptoms, whatever symptoms that they are feeling, write them down in a diary. And if they feel that these symptoms of depression, that is sadness, helplessness, worthlessness, sleep difficulties, appetite changes, anxieties, suicidal thoughts. All these are coming up. Even the thoughts of killing the child, killing oneself. If these thoughts are coming up in the mind, then please tell your gynec or visit your own mental health professional, a psychiatrist immediately, because know that postpartum depression, especially in the first pregnancy, is very common. So there is almost a 50% chance.
Okay.
So it's very common, and therefore it's very important to visit a mental health professional and take their help if you are faced with any such thoughts and feelings. Very important to use that thought diary, which Dr. Aparna said. Monitor your thoughts and feelings. If you feel that these symptoms of depression are coming up and they are with you for a week or longer, nearly 2 weeks, then it's best that you please meet up. Maybe you may need to have to be started on certain medications. Maybe you may need to be taking some counseling sessions, some therapeutic sessions, you along with your family, because it's very important to engage the help of the husband uh, along with the in-laws. Means if the person is staying with the in-laws, or even the help of the parents. Very important. So family counseling, very important. Marriage counseling, very important. And individual counseling, extremely important.
Got it. Doctor, I think we'll let you go now. Thank you very much. And also thank you to Dr. Aparna Ramakrishnan. This has been beyond doubt a very valuable and empowering session for us. I just want to say one thing to the patients. We will close with the doctors and we'll stop recording. But if any of you want to hang out on Zoom, please stay back and we will discuss discuss things that doctor has taught us today. See how we can do it together starting tomorrow. So please hang out if you hang in here if you still want to hang out with us. Thank you, doctor.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening and have a great Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.